Welcome to That Game Show, the awkward, inappropriate, random podcast that occasionally talks about games.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to That Game Show. I am your host, Chase Bunker, joined, as always, Kyle Homesteader. Kyle, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for being the co-host today.
That's incredibly rude. That is incredibly rude. Anyway, today is a special episode because today is our 100th episode of That Game Show. I am surprised we actually made it to 100 episodes, given our history with recording.
That's what my feelings are on this matter, Chase. I am averagely excited.
You're averagely excited. Also, Kyle, if you have not seen our announcement video for Tampa Bay Comic-Con, Kyle just discovered the soundboard. So now he's just going to be firing off sounders just whenever.
We got it.
Those are all the same sounds.
Yeah, well, I only have one duck noise. It's not exactly like I had duck 1, duck 2, mallard, freaking another type of duck, rooster.
Rooster is not a duck.
You say that, but like, what is a rooster then?
A rooster is a male chicken.
And a duck is a
duck. Ducks are different animals than chickens.
That's not true. People eat duck all the time.
That's okay. Yes, we also eat cows all the time. That doesn't make chicken and cows the same animal.
Did you ever watch the show Cow and Chicken?
Yes, I did actually.
They were siblings. What does that make them, huh?
I mean, Dad was so proud he didn't care how.
I'm surprised you remember that.
You know that my memory is filled with useless knowledge about just anything that won't help me out in life. So it's great for trivia nights, horrible in college. I can't tell you when the War of 1812 happened, but I could definitely tell you like who the 5 original members of the View were. Anyway, Kyle's mind seems to be blown. Again, this is the 100th episode. Here's the funny thing, actually, Kyle, and I don't think I've ever told you this. So I was hanging out with my sister a while back. Thank you. And she just randomly said, just out of nowhere,
You're not a disappointment, Chase, I promise. Just before you get to that part.
No, that was my mother. Anyway, she said, I don't know what it is about men and why they need to have podcasts. I feel like it's stupid. And I go, you do realize that I have 2, right? And she legit did not know this.
Well, she's right.
How?
Your mother, that is, not your sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do we have a podcast, really? Is this a podcast, or is this just something that we do to convince ourselves this is the best we can do to hang out?
It's a little bit of both. I don't know if we're truly a podcast because we're not, men in the same room smoking a cigar and talking about, things.
Like sex?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
We did talk about sex last episode, actually.
Oh, that's right. We did.
Yeah.
So I guess we are a podcast now.
Maybe we're an official podcast now. Congratulations.
All right, we did it finally. It took us 100 episodes, but we finally did it. Speaking of missionary, I want to revise my thoughts on Atomic Heart.
Okay.
So I literally spent an entire Saturday playing it.
Having missionary.
No, Atomic Heart.
Oh, okay.
And so
continue.
I will say this. The game definitely gets a lot better as you progress.
So does missionary.
What I'm saying is the beginning I feel like is very slow and it tries to be a little bit humorous, but midway through it starts picking up, and then towards the end I thought it was really good.
This is missionary. You described missionary. This is missionary. When do you jump into missionary and you're like, let me just go ahead and go like as fast as humanly possible for my hips to gyrate? You don't. You start off low and slow. The midpoint, you start feeling it. You're in the groove. It's going well. By the end, you're ready to bust. That's where you're at. You described Missionary just now to a T.
This isn't what I wanted to go
Think
to
about it.
again.
Literally, think about it. You confirmed everything that you thought was false. It was all true. All along, it was true. Everything. It was all true.
I wasn't trying to direct this back to Missionary.
But you can't get away from it. This is how it was meant to be. It was always meant to come back to this. Because at the end of the day, everything in life is correlative to sex. When you went down to the roots, genetic, down to the DNA. When we're talking about everything, it all comes down to one thing: atomic heart.
Chase Bunker.
I wonder what that meeting was like when they said, "Hey guys, how about we do this sci-fi game and have like 500 planets?"
Kyle Helmstetter.
Todd Howard at his desk just rolls slowly with the sun shining on his face ominously, and he goes, "No, we're gonna do over 1,000. I want Skyrim in space.
That's impossible. No game has ever produced over 1,000 planets.
We're Bethesda, not Bethesda can't."
This is That Game Show.
I must say that, I kind of mentioned it earlier, I wasn't sure we were going to get to 100 episodes just because of how infrequent we record, because like we've said multiple times, like you and I have opposite schedules. You're also out there saving lives, and so sometimes that pulls you away on days that we would record because, you got to save people's lives. And it's crazy.
There's a few people.
Yeah. And so I feel like it's nuts going back to, I think we started this around 2013, 2014, and it was just a bunch of friends, and we took it very, it was a more serious conversation as much as I wanted to be jovial. And I guess if we're going to go into the history of it all, really, it was nice being able to have you kind of come in midway through, because I feel like you were the ultimate wild card that I needed for the show, because that's when we started taking the show, I wouldn't say less serious, because we were able to tackle serious topics, but we were also able to just have fun and actually just have the dynamic. And I feel like that's been kind of nice to have.
Once you fired no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I came on around 2000, and I think it was 16 or 17. Probably right around the same time that I started doing Comic-Con, actually.
Yeah.
And I remember you were like, "Hey, watch, some of these episodes so you can get an idea for what it's about." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And I watched it. I'm like, "Ooh, this is pretty serious." I'm like, does he want me to be serious?
Well, no, here was the funny part was I think I said, "Hey, here's kind of what I do." And then I think I said the day of recording, "All right, forget all of that. Let's not do that." And I think we even had Alex from Alves Gaming.
Oh, yes.
And I think it was kind of me trying the new persona, and I was more of an a-hole because he wasn't fully speaking into the microphone, but I was also embracing the not professional show in a way.
Mm-hmm. That is true, because you guys scolded me for cursing right away, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do that." Okay.
Yeah.
So we have boundaries that have been set, and then I proceeded to take the boundaries, and I was like, "Those aren't real, regulations." So,
No.
if you didn't edit this, I'd drop F-bombs all the time.
Yes.
But you edit this, so I respect that time that you take.
Do you respect it? Because I feel like you
I
just
don't
occasionally.
It would have been easy for me just to have dropped about 7 of them right there.
That's also true.
And you know what I would just text you the time of day right now, 9:28, and be like, "There you go. That's the time you're looking for."
All right. I think also one of the things I love doing, and I think it's one of those when we go through long periods and I forget them and then I listen to them again, and it's the rejoins. We didn't have that with the old episodes of that game show. And when you're able to come in, it's like, okay, I want to at least incorporate some production value. And so being able to actually do that and just listen to them, I feel like it's funny to listen to old episodes and old content because I don't know, you just don't see it coming. And also it's the, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just the randomness.
Nostalgic.
A little bit of the nostalgia, but I've always appreciated
they are
them.
unpredictable. I will say. I think we have. So this is kind of like a meta commentary on this one.
Oh yeah.
So we have like titles on them. So like the bumper, like for instance, we have the Bethesda Can't bumper, which love that one. That one demonstrates pretty well what happens in that one. And I'm like, I always look at that title. I'm like, oh okay, I remember what happens in this one. But then there's other ones like I'm like the Porky Pig bumper, and I'm like. I remember, like, obviously I know Porky Pig's involved somehow, but what happens in that one? And then you listen to it and you're like, oh my goodness.
Hold on, let's try this out. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, good. I was freaking out for a second because I adjusted something on my volume and I didn't see my microphone move. And so I started freaking out.
It's just been me this whole time.
Yeah. Oh, I would have been so furious.
I'm talking to myself. I'm going crazy.
I really wish that we could kind of play these so that you and I can both like listen to them at the same time. It would require way too much synchronization, which is something after us doing this for 5-6 years, we don't have that. No, not
at all. Hey, you know what? Maybe I'll put them on the soundboard one day when I figure out how to work the soundboard better than just smashing buttons, and then we can do it.
We can. What is your favorite bumper?
Ooh, boy, that's a really tough one. Oh my goodness. I have to say the Bethesda Can't is pretty good. I have a feeling though that there's one of them in particular. Oh, the Finish the Mission one. That one I like a lot. I wish people knew the context of Finish the Mission because like it makes no sense when I just say you have to finish the mission. You're like, is that like a Halo reference? And it kind of is, but it's the ending of it that really takes off.
Hold on, let me. I'll play this for the audience right now. Here's Finish the Mission.
Chase Bunker.
As Master Chief said, you've got to finish the mission. So it's like, as hard as the game is, nothing is harder than my.
Kyle Helmstetter.
You're really proud of that, aren't you?
No, I'm really not.
This is That Game Show.
I just listened to it on my end, and I don't know what to say other than like these are the things that I want to say, but I'm not saying them out of respect for the fact that I know you have to go and edit that so that I'm bleeped out because there's a lot that I want to say like that.
Yes. I feel like that's one of them. I think one of my favorites. It's technically the Eric one, but it's not because he doesn't say anything in this one. It's the destroy segment one where I say you two do your best to destroy any segment, and then for context, the very next segment you unintentionally just decide that you have to like burp or like borderline throw up, and it was so unintentional and you felt bad, but it was just so funny.
I remember that noise I know because I still make it to this day sometimes when I'll be talking or I'll be doing like homework or something and I'll go sorry, and I'll like if I'm talking with a classmate I'll be like sorry, and they'll be like what, and I'm like don't worry about it. Throwback.
Bethesda Can't is really good. Porky Pig really caught me off guard.
I'm serious. It goes in that direction. I forget every time. And then I listen to it and I'm like, what was I thinking and doing at that very moment?
I don't know either. I've stopped trying to figure that out with you. The Elmo one I think is great because I keep forgetting.
I already forgot which one the Elmo
Okay,
was.
hold on. Let's pause right now and let's listen to the Elmo bumper.
Play it for the audience.
Chase Bunker.
So I just showed Kyle that video, and immediately as soon as the Elmo voice went in, his eyes got so big.
Kyle Helmstetter.
I love Elmo.
Do you really? Is that like your guilty?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is That Game Show.
I still forget about that one.
I love that one because you caught me in my own trap, which is I always set people up when someone just goes, "Oh, you know so and so," and they just go, "Oh, you know them?" No, and I just ended at that. And you caught me on it, and I didn't expect it.
You fell for my trap card, Yugi.
Oh, God.
Yugi boy.
Oh my God, there's been a bunch. Oh, there's so many good ones. I wish we could just like I've sent Kyle a few on Discord, so feel free if you say one, I'll start playing it right now. But
I was looking at a few of them. So you know what's funny? You can tell the earlier ones from the later ones because it's like it's a tentative test the water humor. Like the rare bumper was one of our first episodes, I think. You, me, and Eric all together.
Let's play the rare one right now for them.
I don't think
Chase
Eric's in that
Bunker.
one either.
So
No.
Rare is making a game that is not Banjo-Kazooie, not Conquer, and it's not a Connect-based game.
Wouldn't you say that's rare of them?
Kyle Helmstetter.
I hate you.
Yeah, I hate myself too.
This is that game show.
Wow, the audio quality is so bad.
It hasn't really gotten any better on my end. I feel like I still sometimes forget the mic is here, or I just lean back and I'm like, hey, how's the audio quality?
Well, that was the other thing. So, like, when we used to record, it would be, like, it would be both of us just huddled around one Yeti microphone. And it would always, like, 100%, one of us would just be too far away, so I have to, like, bump up the audio. I also love how in that Rare bumper, you hear a car just drive away.
I noticed it. I wasn't gonna say anything because I'm like, I'm not drawing attention to this. This is like this is a way too meta commentary. People don't need to know like that end of it. But no, we've already added it. Yeah, I totally heard the car bumper, and I'm like, ooh, boy, there's a few bumpers actually. You can catch some background noise, and I'm like, damn, that audio quality was fire.
Yeah.
In terms of like catching the background stuff, it was actually trash audio quality in general.
Oh, yeah. Our audio quality was really bad starting out because I was living in an apartment in Oviedo, and I just could not get the echo to go away no matter how hard I try. It also could be the reason why I didn't get a lot of shoutcasting jobs because when I was shoutcasting, it would have been that. So
Well, that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
yeah. I'm trying to think of some other. I know there's some recent ones we've done recently. We've done
The shorts have been taken off. They've been a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I think my favorite part is like people got to know the bumpers, the shorts, like that. None of them are planned. Like it's not like we have a script where we're like, oh man, you know what would be really funny right now is if I say this, you say this, I'll do this, and then we'll be confused. And it's like, no, it just this is just natural conversation that kind of devolves down a really bad track.
Yes, most of our shows, if not all of them, are usually, hey, you want to record? Yeah, sure. Yeah. And then we get on and we say, what do we talk about?
Yes. Actually, I would say you're right. Almost every single show is like that. I think there's only been one time or two times where like you've had a plan and you're like, we definitely have to talk about the Game Awards. And we're like, oh, okay.
Yes.
And I feel like we're doing this like for the 5th time in a row. And then I realized, oh, it's just because we haven't recorded in a year.
Yes, it is because the last episode was a Game Awards episode and we just haven't recorded that entire time.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, are we actually going to record an episode after Tampa Bay Comic-Con? Because we really have a tendency of just not doing anything after that.
I think we're dominating right now. We've put out an episode every 2 weeks, roughly in that span. You know, sometimes I think we went like 3 or so weeks one time, but
yeah,
we've been better.
Yes,
we've been. The only thing we are not doing well right now is streaming.
Yeah,
and games outside, actually just anything outside of the podcast itself. Like we don't have any like games or us playing something like that. We could change that, but
yeah,
I mean,
we could.
And, and we don't have Eric, so
yes. I wonder if Eric, if you're listening, I'm glad you're alive. I don't know if you're alive or not.
Come back, Eric.
Yes. Actually, yes and no, because don't come back if you're with Kyle, because you two just devolve into just the worst.
No, that'd be great.
Oh, it would be so catastrophic. let's see. Before we wrap up, because I know that this has been incredibly meta-filled.
True.
I guess before we go, I want to say, for the people who've been sticking around, thank you very much for being, a part of the show. If you've been coming to the panels, thank you for coming to that. Just by even liking or sharing, like, it means a lot to all of us. We've had a lot of great guests on over the past, like, since we've started. Like, these people didn't need to come on, and they did. And like, Rick Jacket, James Black of Finger 11, Grant Kirkhope, Simon Vicklin, Vernon Shaw, Rasai, Superior David, Mel Weezy, Lucas Croft, who else? Chris and Andy from Chris and Andy Play. Like, we've had a bunch of people come on, and they didn't need to do that. We've also had a lot of support from other people as well, like Tony Henderson from the Tony P Oddcast. He might actually be at Tampa, so we get to see him again.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, and he, like, his show, Geek Versus, kind of like influenced a little bit of what we do for the podcast and what we do for the panel. It's actually, okay, let's get more meta here.
More meta.
Before we go. So, we went to see Geek Versus on our first year at Atlanta Comic-Con. And they said, yeah, we're not we are a podcast, but we're not one of those panels that tries to do a podcast and talk because we think that's boring. By the way, does anybody have anything we want to shout out? And so it was us, and you go, yeah, we're a podcast, and we kind of record a podcast. And we realize it's boring. And so, like, immediately we changed on the fly that whole how we approached the panel. And then we also did the shout out thing. And so, yeah, so we have them to thank for it. There's a bunch. I feel like there's a bunch of others.
Tons of people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Slash.
I gotta say, that's the fun
Slash
part about being a
Ventures.
small. Oh, Slash Ventures.
Yes.
And that's the fun, but they're always there. That's the fun about like a small podcast, right? Like, it's kind of weird because you look at your numbers and you're like, ooh, it'd be cool to see big numbers, but at the same time, like the bond you build with people is so nice that it's like, all of these people support each other. Like, we support them, they support us. It's just like, it's just nice because it's a sense of like community. It's like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, we're all working together to just kind of grow.
Yeah, and have fun, you know?
And I think that's what we do. I think that's one thing we definitely do with this show is I don't think we would like to see big numbers, but it's not the end of the world because we just kind of have fun and have a creative outlet to do things.
Yeah.
So
it's like we, at the end of the day, we got our careers, and it's like, it's always cool to be able to interact more. And like, if we could go to other cons, like, that'd be so sweet.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, like, we still got our lives we got to take care of too. So it's like, this is meant to be fun, and it's meant to have people who have fun with it too.
So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you all very much for being a part of this journey with us. All music you heard on this show is courtesy of the band Power Glove. Check them out for music, tour dates, and merch. Go to powergloveband.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Chase Bunker. You can follow the show on Instagram at that_game_show. And you can also follow Kyle on Instagram at Scandinavian_sensations. Kyle, anything else before we go?
I just want to give a nice little round of applause for everybody out there, because you guys are the real show.
That's right. Thank you all very much for listening, and we'll talk to you all in the next episode.
Happy 100 to 100 more.
Woo!
Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out more episodes on iTunes and on our YouTube page, youtube.com/thatgameshow. And follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/thatgameshow.